Hi everyone, it's Adrian Leah. I wanted to do a reading today since I'm up super early. It's interesting with my laptop camera that it's it changes the way that the lighting is depending on the time of the day. So I did want to make a video before mm, leaving the house. I'm going to work on a couple of presentations, do some knitting, and just relax a little bit. Honestly, I've been hibernating. I've been sleeping a lot for the past 2 days, but um, I think it was good for me because the last couple of weeks, um, there's a Ukrainian psychologist that I work with, and she has been really sick, and I was happy to um, do the presentations and interactions with the class when she wasn't there. But I'm really happy that I caught up on some sleep too. So I'm gonna start pulling out cards, and I've been enjoying the Yokai Tarot, the Ukyo Tarot, and the Kitsune Oracle. I do have the Goddess Love Oracle in front of me, and it's interesting because sometimes I use decks out of maybe like what would be an associated season with them. So for many places, it's still pretty cool. For this area, it reached 110 the other day, so it's definitely warming up here. I'll pull out a card from this one as well, but I just feel like there's something meticulous around this time. I noticed that when I was um, saying some of the words, I was really saying certain parts of the word and sounds. So, and another thing that I'll be doing when I'm out is studying, and I'm studying for a course that will help with remote English tutoring or teaching or tutoring English abroad. So you're just going with life. For some reason, the color orange, or like this peachy color on the Yokai Tarot, is standing out to me. And then I have a bag that has some orange on it too. And even the accessories on the yokai box, it kind of is giving, it's reminding me of ears. And this is more of an alternative style, but uh, when you have gauges in your ear and you stretch out your ear, and then it's also associated with different cultures too. So maybe I feel like you could have heard an earful or something where you were stretched to almost your limits, and it just seemed like there's certain ways of doing things to where it can be a little because the phrases that's coming to me is like work smarter, not harder. So it's interesting that that came up. And there was also a presentation that the psychologist did, which was really interesting. It was talking about how we have hardiness, and it's a concept in the X Factor in psychology where you could use it to your advantage so that you could have um have situations that are more opportunistic than have them burn you out. So um that I thought that was like something to think about a lot too, and I learned so much in these meetings. And I had a lot of interesting symbols in my dream the last night. It was actually a couple of things that happened. And I was thinking it made sense. Because I found a smaller animal. There was definitely an elephant. I remember there was an elephant like in a parking area and lifted us up because it seems like those are the things that stood out to me. There's also a figure in the dream too that seemed to have specific expressions or feelings of um maybe situational things that happened, like a watchful eye type of thing. So somebody could have like a watchful eye, and there could be a little bit of maybe possessiveness too. And it could also be a thing where there's meticulous energy because maybe this could be a situation where um, someone or maybe an organization watches you for like a process or something that's going on in your life that you have to um, do something correctly, and maybe even like a background check through that approval. I wouldn't even be surprised if this is more on a relationship scale too, because like depending on like the culture, it could have those different types of dating aspects there. And not wanting to do something that's of course disrespectful, so there could be something where you are more observant and a little more reserved at the time. And I could feel that with me because again, I'm not super religious, but I thought it would be nice to find a chill church that's not super strict. And I found this Korean church near me. Um, Interesting that I decided to do that in the heart of Las Vegas. Um, and right now, it was, well, the other week it was like the first time I was sitting at a table with just Korean people. And I haven't really been talking to people my age. I've been hanging out with the um like the wives of the church. And it was interesting and that one of the questions is that came up, they were like, "Oh, are you married?" I'm like, "No." And them offering me food because they do give food after the service, and it comes up, I think, especially more in America, maybe, or it could happen in other countries too, where they're like, "Oh, so what are you?" or like, "Where are you from?" Um, and then she is really sweet because she's like, "Oh, you're very pretty." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." Um, so there could be those types of not knowing or the barriers or things that you have to really look into all as well. Maybe there's specific cultural things that you just don't know and you're trying to figure it out so you're not gonna offend anybody. So, so far it's been a nice experience. I will say though, it's definitely a task to find clothing items that I could wear to church because I don't exactly have church going type of clothing. Um, to an extent, maybe to other people they may think it's okay, but I feel like I'm definitely maybe on the flamboyant side when it comes to expressing myself through my clothing or my hair. Um, so it seems like there's a preparation because there's tending the future and then to dance with joy. So it seems like it's something to be excited for. Because maybe there was an acceptance, like maybe getting accepted at the table, or maybe getting accepted to the college that you wanted, or the job that you were looking for, or the person that you like likes you back type of thing going on. So you could apply that to however it fits your life. I was gonna say mood too. But it hasn't been always the easy road for this because it feels like there was more of like trials and error, especially with tending the future. And if you're a person that's learning about how to like take care of plants, I was gonna say for some reason blab. So maybe there could have been situations where you were just like talking like how you would normally talk, and then you were in a situation where maybe the people didn't respond to the way that you assumed that they would respond because it was just like a different environment. So there were things to look out for. I'm saying that because the Nine of Wands comes out, and that could have been like the persistence to keep going because you're think there could have been times where you're thinking just like fuck it all because um you may have like tried to go at it at different angles, and maybe some situations had to restart or like you had to go into different cycles or just different ways of learning how to do it. But with the persistence you also have just the Hierophant too, feeling like this is something that needs to get done because it's meant to help you in some way. So you have the King of Wands and the World card. So this seems like somebody trying to expand their empire. And it's not like this doesn't show any signs of like backing down with the cards that I've turned over so far. I mean, it doesn't seem like it was a straight path to begin with, but and it because it's linked to Leo with the King of Wands or a fire sign, and I'm not reading for signs specifically, there may have been times where you just had to really step in to make sure that, especially for like organizations where they recognize that this is what you're doing here, um, this is what the purpose is. If maybe you have a specific role in an organization, or like in there's certain things that you do in life, um, I feel like there could have been moments where you had to just be like, this is why I'm here. It wasn't about flaunting yourself. It was about just because you're not vocalizing it or um, putting it in people's face. Because there could have been like people that were just thinking, oh, she's a fossil, or or he is just, why are they even there? Like, what do they even do? And it seems like degrading too, because you could have some responsibilities that other people just don't see. Like, if you work behind the scenes, it's disrespectful to just say, like, I can't see what you do, so you don't do anything. Like, no, that's not how it works. Like, without me here, the place wouldn't even run correctly. So I feel like there could have been just putting yourself out there, being like, bitch, this is who I am. Not like in a mean way, but there's just the flamboyancy. And there was definitely people being just, some of them that already knew were just thinking, yeah, this is what um she does, or this is what he does. And then the people that didn't know, that were just like maybe mocking the whole time, were thinking, maybe even stepping back, being like, oh, you just tried to start shit with somebody that um you shouldn't have started anything with. And in general, like, you don't need to people start stuff with people um in many situations, but maybe it depends, or whatever your life throws at you. It feels like there's an energy of giving something grace, because I feel like there's picking and choosing. Because if you were in a state of the Nine of Wands, and you could see that this is a wounded energy, like maybe a wounded warrior type of energy, but still having faith. Because sometimes you go through things, and faith isn't just, it's not for like the weak type of situation. So with the Seven of Swords, I feel like there it was taking and observing. There was a lot of things that you let unfold that you didn't even, honestly, the King of Wands is here, but I feel like they let the other person come to their own downfall, or the situation come to their own downfall. Or if it doesn't have to do with anybody else, just like um knowing when to hold, knowing when to like step back, knowing when to step in. There is more of timing, and just like, sorry, like a grace to it, where it was like a dance, like a fire dance of life, and trying to navigate it. But it came pretty naturally because of the King of Wands past experience, and why he or she is, like, why they have their throne. So but it has like a ferret to the yokai, and it's one of the swifter type of animals. And they're shaped like that because they're able to catch things that maybe other people aren't able, or animals aren't able to catch as well. So, like, honestly, rabbits. And I love rabbits, but I'm just saying that, like, rabbits can be difficult to catch. Um, Animals have their own gifts and skills. So, with having such a flexible, slim type of stature, it just makes it more of an advantage to be able to catch those things. Um, so there could have been like like a mindfulness too of knowing that maybe something was up and catching it before um or letting things go the way that they went so that things could be revealed because this is like more of a shadowy energy out of the different cards in the sword suit because it kind of talks about knowledge that is that's either like being discovered or maybe hidden or something that is that can be seen as like daunting or mysterious because it's not obvious to the eye. So there could have been energy of like you knowing more than what you were putting out there. And that was more on like the strategic side. It wasn't just because you're like just doing it just to do it. And even that, like, it's paired off with, well, the obstacle is the Hermit. Hermit going with Virgo energy. Again, not reading for signs, but it's the journey is really for the Hermit card. The journey is really inspired by um what they learn and the knowledge that they obtain, and um it is an earth sign and how they incorporate it or how they will incorporate it because it is something or for the major arcana one where it's not a fast moving one. It doesn't seem like it moves much because it doesn't really talk about that much movement with the Hermit card. It could be more to themselves for a reason. The Seven of Swords is like a card that's more of a secluded card for a reason. Um, but it's not a bad thing, and it's actually more intentional than others may think about it to be. And it's not just having old knowledge too, it's about being up to date with things. So it's constantly on that type of um the energy that they have for it. And knowing where to apply and use the knowledge you see with these more traditional type of footwear there. You could see. And with the ferret with the long nails here. Because it seems like that they could attack or they could go for it and look at like with all the swords there and knowing all these things that they could use at that time. Um, because I find it interesting that like I saw a video about the air signs and it was talking about Libra because I'm a Libra. They showed all of them, but I thought it was interesting because they were saying, oh, when Libra you get Libra to that point, and you've gotten her to or him to a point where they're upset. Um, they have basically a laundry list of things to just like give back to you, basically like spit it back out at you. um almost like evidence or things that they could have said in other moments but they didn't, and then they just left it there for the right moment to say. So I thought that was an interesting thing for sure. I love this chariot card because it's like more in the yokai stories like a traditional way for the yokai to travel in. So um there may be a couple of things that need to be done. So it does feel like energy for how to overcome the obstacle, putting a little energy here and a little energy there, and then the overall energy being the chariot too. I feel like that's extra confirmation that um so it can run properly or get steered properly, because traditionally you may have the two different animals and then the angel in the chariot, and it can't just go in like different directions. So there's some practicality too. So there it does seem like it's not just the thought process anymore, it's putting the thoughts into action. And they're kind of heavy strides too. It's almost like it feels like a startup because you have the Ace of Pentacles before the Two of Pentacles, and that just feels like um an opportunity that opened up, and or a new journey or a plan that you wanted to put into action. So the Two of Pentacles is trying to get things to get up, and like the Tending the Future card for the Oracle. I mentioned this plant before, but gardenia, it's one of those plants that may have a difficult startup compared to other plants. So there could be something in the works that just it's going to be hard to lift at first or hard to start it up, but once you get it going, um it seems like more solidified because you have the Hermit card that did their research before implementing it, and then the Two of Pentacles is not really trying to waste time but being intentional on where you're putting um those actions, because it might be like a busy time for you. And it's interesting because there's like a lot of, well, Major Arcana Chariot, that's associated with Cancer, and that's a water sign. But there's some swords here and earth signs or earth energy. So there's the Knight of Swords in the past, and then in the future, there's the Seven of Wands. So one for fire energy came up. And there's a couple of Wands energy in the beginning too. So it does seem like a really busy time. But it looks like something is more revitalized because it goes from the 9 in the beginning to the 7 in the future. Because maybe you were able to knock out more things than expected, or like in a limited amount of time, or maybe again you've researched enough, or there was something that was super interesting to you that made it the process easier to like get through. Because sometimes I know that like when I have to do something that I'm not exactly interested in, sometimes it takes me a while to get through that because I'm just like kind of bored of the process. But right now it kind of feels like uh there's a lot to gain and not wanting to lose things. There's just a lot of maintenance that comes in, and there could be communication because like my hand movements, it kind of looked like I was gonna talk on the phone or try to get things on off the ground with that. So the past, again, the Knight of Swords, linking maybe to Gemini, and as I said that, like talking in the phone and like communication, like that's definitely up Gemini's alley. And I could definitely see how Geminis can talk it up. Uh I have mainly air sign friends. And I my best friend and my other close friend, they're both Geminis. And they kind of just like keep the conversation interesting. Oh, sorry, I have a call coming in as I was talking about Gemini, and um, maybe it could have been a situation that uh, maybe like it was just put all out there, and this time it seems like there's more observation or learning before the pursuit or before the two of pentacles, before the action, because right now there's just so much to do that it's being mindful of how we're going to do it and where we're going to implement these things. And if it's a financial thing too, like if there's certain things that you have to be accountable for, or like responsible and be mindful of, the Two of Pentacles is something that to keep in mind because maybe making a list of things that you have to prioritize or pay for specifically or invest in um, is vital for the process. Um, but it just feels like there's a rejuvenation because this yokai is literally surrounded by wands and fire. I forget what the symbol is of the wands, but I have definitely have seen it before. Um, Last time I saw it was in a yokai anime series. So you have 9 and 9, but I like how things are kind of just when things are stressful or when things are like this, it's able to be kind of um I was gonna say mediated or balanced out in a way with maybe some things that you now will help appease situations. Because with the Nine of Swords, you have the King of Cups. And that could be like maybe the internal thoughts, but it could also be a person that isn't going to let certain situations hinder them. Because the Nine of Swords seems like there's something that just keeps knocking on the door, like a specific message or a person that keeps coming up and like uh I feel like it has to do with the Seven of Swords. It's just like being watchful. And there's like a Gordon like being cool, calm, and collected type of thing. Like the things that you know, but not having it get under your skin because you know that, and with the King of Wands there too because they're opposites and in the spectrum, and then just making sure that you're composed and that you can feel and see things clearly so it doesn't get out of hand. Because you see that there's like coral here and a gourd. Um, I feel like that's like a blessing because I've seen gifts, like yokai gifts of like wine or some type of alcohol. Um, and then Nine of Wands, it just seems like there's a heaviness that comes out with the type of um the information that could have been given, or the realization, or like being watchful, like kind of stepping back, but knowing knowing your boundaries and stepping back to be observant, and because you know that you don't need to attack at everything that moves. Like you need to just maybe conserve your energy, conserve your words, and come in at the time when it would be the most appropriate. And they also talk about that when you're maybe in like certain organizations or jobs where who do people really look up to or even respect when they're in a conference room. So it's the way that we see things, and the way that we're responding to things now. So I'm just going to pull out two more cards, and then that'll be the reading. So I feel like this is also people by your side too. And there's a lot of not energy in the background necessarily, but energy that's like in the darkness, as if um not needing to be put in the light right now. So it's definitely more mindful of what you're doing, because you have Call Forth the Waves and then the Garden of the Night. So there could be things that are more comfortable to also work on at night as well. Um, in Call Forth the Waves, it just seems like there's more protection in here, because there's more of like a nobility energy that I'm getting in this situation, where you're only going to put the actions where it's necessary, because of it just seems like other your it seems like maybe your ancestors have your back, or your guides, or whatever religion or spirituality, the people particularly too that um are surrounding you, like I feel like they may not always know what you're up to, which is the interesting part, but it's also like um they do trust you to a high extent, because um they feel like you have maybe high sensory of situations, or being able to catch on to things, because it doesn't seem like this is the first rodeo. Like if somebody tried to like underhand you, it's not, or like even underhand like the crew, or your group. It just seems like you could see this and spot it before it happens. So it's good, and it's also a little sad too, because it's it's energy, or from experience of maybe knowing those types of energies, or people that might have done that in the past or tried to do that in the past. But so there could be, with you delegating the future and the dance with joy, because I feel like it is going to be a happy time regardless of how busy it is. There are people that really believe in this too, and they trust your opinion, they trust your judgment, because you're not one to like try to fuck up somebody's life just to fuck up somebody's life. Like it seems like um there were hidden intentions. So I don't see too much drama necessarily in the future, but I do feel like that there's more things to cover, as in like information to like preparation, and um maybe cover in a way where, because I said that and I was thinking like, was that was an interesting word to say, because it's like what needs to be done or what needs to be prepared for this to be successful. And it could even be covering um shifts. So there might be like extra responsibility for this, or maybe you're the person that has experience in that area and you'll have to maybe catch some people up when they're not exactly sure on what to do. So there could be like reliance on other people or another person. But overall, I feel like because everyone, it seems that this group or organization that are around you, they seem like that you guys are like on the same page, which is definitely great because you don't want to be in the same group where this and work against each other. Like that already adds adversity to maybe a stressful environment. So it feels more harmonious, and I do see good things that um come out of it. And also, I don't think the Gemini energy or the Knight of Swords energy just die down, because that would be a lot. But um there could be like an abundance of different information or different sources that also come into play, and you're going to have to see what can be workable or of benefit, or that could really help the group or you become something that is great. So, and it seems like there's already great energy. So, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in another video.